All right. As we spoke about on Wednesday, we just wanted to get to a recap here on October the 8th, 2022. The time is 10:10 a.m. Now, just to go over the basics, with Marion Ghana Incorporated, just to give you a quick background, we're a company that started back in September of 2020. Yes, during the time of the pandemic. So that's when we was first incorporated, when I came out with the idea to unify all kente weavers in Ghana under one umbrella company. We actually didn't begin selling online until 2021, again, as we went through the pandemic. With that, 2021 was basically learning the ins and out of the industry. And leading into 2022, we learned a lot more about the things that are on the outside of the industry itself, like the taxation, the shipping, the delivery, um, a lot of issues dealing with how to get merchandise from one continent to another, dealing with duties and so forth. So it's definitely has been, I would say, the last 18 to 24 months of a learning process with this kente industry. And again, although we're incorporated as Marion Ghana, kente, we want to be the first and primary at this particular time course of action for the company itself. Marion Ghana Incorporated is more so of, I would say, a strategic investment company that even though it's incorporated in the US, we want to deal with a lot of our investments on the continent of, or I should say, in the country of Ghana. And later on expand throughout other Western parts of Africa. So that is the goal. Also, on mariongana.com, you can find a lot more about our strategic plan over the next course of the 5, 10, to 15 year. But right now, we want to speak about where we are as a company and how us as a company are rightful investors. Now, just to recap, we went over 9 points. The first five that dealt primarily within the industry, what we do and what's going on inside of Ghana that pertains to the company itself. mgkente.com is where we primarily sell through, or we're trying to push a lot of our customers from Etsy and Amazon over to there in order that we get a greater profit share. As anyone may know, when you sell on other platforms, you pay a lot of extravagant fees and processing fees and transaction fees. So we want to eliminate that. And the way we do that is by making our company a brand name. It's not just like other sellers to go around and sell kente, make Facebook pages, this, that, and the other. We want to we want to allow the public to see us as a trusted brand. And with a lot of kente sellers, especially when you're selling outside of the country of Ghana and you're selling online, there are a lot of trust issues. I've heard so many horror stories, and we want to be the ones that eliminate all worries in order that when you order, when you see kente, when you see traditional wear, when you see wedding, or you have an event that you need put together full of kente, wedding accessories and so forth, we want you to know that you can feel comfortable with a company that absolutely delivers. And that's our motto. We want to make our customers comfortable and family. Now, to recap, the first 5 points of the 9 that we went through on Wednesday, where we are right now and as it stands in October of 2022, we discussed shipping. And shipping is a major part of this industry because in order for you to get the required merchandise, the required orders to your customer, of course, you need a good and reliable shipping carrier. Now, through 2021, we first started with Ghana Post. Within a few months, we realized that Ghana Post was not a reliable source, not a reliable shipping company for us to be in business with. So with that, the hire director at the time, we used him to set up a DHL account in which we got within a matter of, I would say, 2 to 3 months, we got active because these things, they take a long time to process. And with that, we got into a rhythm to getting our customers their orders within a matter of days and a lot of times. Things that didn't have to be weaved, if they were in stock on our shelves in a shop in Ghana, in Kumasi, a lot of customers would get it within 2, 3, 4, 5 business days. UK for whatever, well, not for whatever, but UK is much, much faster. Sometimes customers will get it the very next day because a lot of times with the transport, a lot of the DHL Express, which it was, would UK would be the first destination anyway. So of course, those customers would get theirs next day or 2 days. With US, it's normally never direct. So you're going to have one stop in one country, then in US. So US would usually take 3 to 5 business days. And it worked well for a time. And I say that because the person in charge of that no longer was doing a job accordingly. So we had times, we ran into, this is just recently, we ran into situations where the person in charge with their name on the DHL account, because in Ghana, whoever name is on the account is the only name that can ship. So this person was specifically hired to do that amongst other duties. And we had issues where the person would disappear for weeks at a time. And what happens with that? What happens with that is you get customers stuck without their merchandise. We ran into issues having to refund customers several times over because if we work with a customer and they say, "Hey, I'm ordering on this day, could you get it to us by this date?" And if it's an in stock item and we're saying, "Hey, we can get it to you, no later than a week's time," because we know it's a 2, 3, 4, 5 days with DHL Express. Now, if the person responsible for that does not show up for work for weeks at a time, days at a time, that doesn't happen. So in return, in order to keep the customer trust, we have to refund that. And to refund that is materials used and labor paid for. That goes against the company budget. So now we're taking a negative. Now this progressed over the course of not just 2021, but 2022. This began, I would say, back in March of 2021, right when we began. We went through it, we gave the guy a pay raise, doubled his income, just so he could be to work on time, every day. From March to June, it lasted. From June and on, we had to shut down our Shopify, our Amazon, our Etsy, because he was missing in action, MIA. We had no clue what was going on. So seeing that this was happening over and over, we shut down production between those times, between June of 2021 and all the way into the beginning of December 2021, when we was able to get in contact with him, find out what was going on. And it was sort of a desperation, I would say, that we needed to go back to him because I was no longer in the country. I had already flew to the United States of America to start putting together what we need to do over here. So with that, we thought we was on par to get back in business and do things the right way. Lo and behold, from December of 2021 to, I would say, all the way up to, let's say, another case of June or July. I would actually say May. From December of 2021 to May of 2022, again, things were on par. It wasn't perfect. We had a lot of delays because there was a lot of excuses why things weren't getting out on time. And this is under the same hired hand. So again, back in May, from May to this September, we had to slow down and stop production because we had no way of getting it out the door. So what happened was I actually contacted one of my competitors on Etsy. And this young lady has done well on Etsy for herself. She actually contacted me first a few months before because me and her were, if she had something that I didn't have in stock and the person needed it, she would get it, and vice versa. So one day she contacted me and said, hey, I'm in Ghana, so I'm having a problem with my PayPal. Could you help me out? I said, no problem. Whatever you need, send it to me. I'll bounce it back to you. No charge. So we did that for several weeks. And she was amazed that she could put her trust in me, because at the end of the day, I was still a stranger to her and her to me. So with that, she got everything together. She continued doing what she was doing as I was over here trying to put together what we needed to do. So came September, I decided to give her a call and say, hey, I got this issue, same issue that I explained to you before that I'm having. Would you be able to help? So long story short, I decided to hire her as the person who would dictate how to get everything out as far as shipping is concerned. Basically the same duties that the director once had. And she's been good at it thus far. From the beginning of September to now in October, we've been working together. And it's been going well. She's very reliable. And we've been able to get back on track where the customers are happy and no longer have to be concerned about long waits according to the shipping date. Now, that's where we run into the next issue that we're at. Being that we no longer can use that DHL account because we had to separate ourselves and let go of the individual, we're at a standstill because the lady in question, excuse me, not the lady in question, but the lady who was hired once one of our competitors doesn't have a DHL account also. So we said, you know what, our only opportunity to continue on, because it's all about the brand name. It's all about keeping the brand name out there. It's all about building trust. We can't build trust without a way to give the product to the customer. So we're going to have to go back to Ghana Post. So lo and behold, we go back to Ghana Post. Fees are relatively low for standard shipping. So we started off with standard shipping because fees are relatively high for express shipping. If you use DHL, what we were doing was in the middle of the two. So we can have more of a profit by using standard Ghana shipping. But if we use Ghana Express, we're going to lose a lot of profit that we once had. So how do we figure this out? So with Ghana standard shipping, the items are not trackable or traceable. They just get there when they get there. It's a standard 14 to 21 days worldwide. When customers are looking for their items and you can't provide them with a tracking ID that is usable for them to trace, that's an issue. Customers don't like that because I wouldn't like that either. So after the first 3 weeks of that, we decided recently, you know what? We're just going to have to take the hit and get everything out with Ghana Express, which is 5 to 7 days worldwide. Very expensive, but we have to do it. We have to do it in order to keep the customers satisfied and trusting in us and what we were able to do. Okay, so be it. So how do we solve this problem still? Because even with Ghana Express, it's not as reliable as DHL, which is 1 to 2 days in some places and 3 to 5 days in other places. So if you guys remember, we alerted you guys that we were going to be at the US Ghana Expo here in Philadelphia on September the 16th. We held an expo there. We had a great time. We got a lot of interest. We're actually talking to investors now who we just sent our business plans over to really get this thing moving so that we could begin the building stages by this December. So with that, one that we were able to talk to was the Minister of Trade of Ghana. And we got some ideas. So we actually got in contact with DHL because, again, the individual that's doing the shipping now doesn't have a DHL account. And I guided her how to get a DHL account. Now, this was even before she began working for us. She started this months ago. And to this very day, they still not activated her DHL account. So I said, you know what? Give me his name, give me his number, give me his contact, and let me work on this myself. So I did get that 2 weeks ago, got in touch with the DHL agent, and with a couple people on board, express to him, this is what we need. Okay, this is what you need. This is how it's done. Okay, we understand that. But we're going to have to do things in a bit of unconventional way in order to get this on track right away. So with that said, the discussion has led to us getting a DHL business account that is due to be active in the next coming weeks, which is a big move because not only are we not dealing with an individual business account, but we're dealing with a company business account now. What that does, from what we were paying, just to give you an example, we were paying with DHL for 1 kg. For 1 kg, which is usually like 2 to 4 yards of kente, the cost with DHL was about 176 Ghana cedis, which is now, according to US dollars, will be about $17. With Ghana Express, we're paying on par of around 600 Ghana for that very same thing. That's $60. So you go from paying $17 for shipping to now paying $60 for shipping. Big difference, huge difference. But now with a business account, it doesn't rely on one person, but it relies on the company itself. Now you could have a list of people who are authorized to do shipping that works for the company. Also with that, it gives us a lower cost than an individual business account. So now we're going to move from paying $60 per kg with Ghana EMS and no longer pay the $17 for that 2 kg that we were paying with DHL, but around the $10 area. So that is a big difference. And that is probably the highlight of the week right now, that we've been able to work through this and get these things moving. So all these things tie into profit. And that is why it's so important. So that is stage one that we talked about. Now, from wholesale to market, over market costs. Let's discuss this. Why? Again, this ties into what we had set up prior to what we're dealing with now. So now I'm losing the director because of an inadequate work ethic. We now went from having our own weavers in that very location because everything is spread it out now. It's more detailed to get into, but just so you can understand, I will make it simple in simple words. We had to move away from those altogether because we didn't know what was going on. There was so much confusion and it built up so much mistrust. So we just had to completely move away from it because we understood that it was all about the customer satisfaction of not just the arrival of the item, but the quality in itself. And under this particular director, when we were getting complaints that we've never gotten before of the quality, we knew that it was time to move away. So what we did, I used my contacts in the industry and also begin to work with CDM, which I will give you her name, CDM, who is the one-time competitor of our company who now works for the company. We were able to work together to get the top kente weavers in the industry, but we had to go through a third party to get that. These are the weavers that weave for some of the top kente sellers known in all of Ghana. So with their quality, you're not going to get better. And this is in a town called Bondwire. If you ever heard of Bondwire, Kumasi, they have the reputation of being the best and top weavers in all of Ghana. So we say, you know what? We're going to go along with them. But again, because I'm not there to go and do the research and search these people out myself, I had to go through a third-party operator. So with this third-party operator or agent said, okay, yes, we could get you this. We could get it done. So we got it done. So now we have the best quality kente out there that matches anyone at the top. Great. I love that. Another blessing in disguise. But there's a catch 2022. And that is, not only are we paying more for the kente, which we once did. And a lot of that has to do with inflation also. So Kente, the materials, everything was being inflated over the past months anyway. So we understood that the cost of material and was going to go up. With the cost of material going up, we knew that the cost of labor was going to go up, not dramatically, but it was going to go up. So now that we have these top weavers, top quality in a country that no one can compete with the quality that we dish out now, that is great, wonderful. But now we're going through another third party agent. So now the Kente comes from those weavers through that agent to us. So of course, when you deal with third parties, what happens? You're going to pay a higher cost. How do we get over this? How do we as a company get through this so that we're eliminating every aspect of having to pay additional costs and fees that will lower our profit? Well, this one is on me. This is why my trip in just a matter of weeks coming up, a couple months, early December, is a big part of what's going to happen there, that I'm going to meet with these weavers personally so that we no longer deal with a middleman ever again. So that is how we're going to overcome this barrier. So back to the profits and what it's costing us. To give you an example, today, let's go over today's order, just an order from today. So today on Etsy, we have an order, or just the other day, we have an order. Okay. We have an order of 6-yard Kente pattern design. The cost from Etsy is $371 that the customer paid. $21 of sales tax is collected by Etsy itself. $350 is what we made off the sell. $34.86, along with another $11.33 is for marketing, transaction, and processing fees. So we're around to $310.03. So we just lost $40 by selling through Etsy because of processing fees and transaction fees. But we still made $310 for the 6 yards of Kente. That 6 yards of Kente is going to cost us about $180 to both pay for the materials, the labor, and the shipping. So from 180 to 310, we're looking at about $130 of profit. You would say, oh, wow, that's great. You made $130 of profit off one sell of $350 before taxes. Sounds great, but we want to do even better than that. Because if this sell went through the MG Kente Shopify store, we wouldn't have incurred these fees. So that $350 would have been $350. So now we would be looking at $160 in profits. But okay, let's take it back to why is it costing us $180? Again, we're paying through a third-party agent the weavers that we truly want, but we don't have directly under us yet. If we did, that $180 would drop down to, let's say, an estimate of $120. So once we get everything and all things in order, where we have the Kente weavers directly under us again, as we previously had, we would be looking at around a $250 profit off a $350 order. That is what makes this industry so great. All things are about profit, quality, and service. And that's the one thing we always want to stress. Our quality of product, our quality of customer service, and our high profits. That is what makes a great company that you would want to invest in. So even though we've been in this just for a short time, we're making headway that no one has made. We are the only ones with iOS and Android apps. We're the only one that has an attached free dating site for all our members and the public to use. So we're making this as attractive as possible for investors. And we're going to get into the investment part shortly. So just to recap, that's what we've dealt with in the past weeks and months. The shipping, okay, that is being taken care of. The wholesale cost to the overpriced market cost, that is being dealt with directly by me, myself, by taking a trip back to Ghana and dealing with it personally. But even then, we're still making high profits. Now, the third is, what is this? Import or profits. Okay, impact of profit. So I kind of just discussed that, and the impact of the wholesale from the market on profit. So we just pretty much discussed that in a resolution. So let's drop down to 5. Okay, five plays a big part in what's going on now in Ghana. And this goes into why that this project is needed in order to change the entire industry. What do I mean by weather delay? So we are getting orders that, if you know anything about Kente, when you call for a specific product, a lot of times the product is not actually in store. A lot of times it has to be weave. We want to eliminate that completely, but we're going to get into that. Now, right now, we have orders that are being weaved as we speak that are coming in daily. But the issue is this: we're dealing with the rain season in Ghana. In Kente, when you do the stretching, when you do the weaving, can be done indoors, but the stretching is done on the outside, because you need about 30 to 40 to 50 feet in order to do the stretching for the Kente. And that is done before almost anything else is done. It's wrapped in cones. After the cones, you use the cones and you stretch the Kente out. And that is the preparation before weaving. Being that we're in the rain season, when it's raining heavy and flooding in Ghana, this particular part of the process is not able to be completed. So what does that do? That delays the product from getting out to the customers. That delays production. So we're dealing with delays in production because of the weather. Nothing you could do about it, right? Everybody in Ghana goes through it. Every Kente weaver deals with the same issue all over the country. You could do the weaving indoors. There are some shops where you could have maybe 4 or 5 weavers with bamboo sticks built around it and a makeshift roof. But even then, when you have hard rain and hard flooding, that is not able to be completed in this type of inclement weather. So what is the resolution? Well, again, that's the Kente project that we speak of. Because according to the business plan, as you see, when you see the engineering plans that goes along with it, on top, on the second floor, there's an area where all the stretching takes place. Just like on the first floor, there's where all the weaving takes place. On the second floor is the stretching and the dyeing. And I think the sewing also is all on the second floor of the Kente warehouse. On the first floor is all the weavers that are weaving on the first floor. So with the project itself, with the warehouse itself, weather plays no part in production anymore, meaning that we will be able to continue production for 365 days out of the year. What does that mean? That means a large stock of inventory. That means that we're able in a year's time to build up a level of inventory where we could put pretty much any and every design that is known in stock. Meaning that for the foreseeable future, when you go to order Kente, you no longer have to wait unless it's a custom design that you particularly want. But anything that you see online on the internet, we already have in stock. Meaning that we will have every design imaginable to your door within a matter of days. And in some cases, the next day, as discussed when it's in the UK. That is a game changer. And that's what we're all about, changing the game and how Kente is done. So that is the resolution according to number 6. So with 3 more that we're going to go on quickly, we're going to talk about what we discussed, what was number 7, the 2024 to 2025 opening. Now, this is how the plan is working. If we're going to build this on company profit, which the project in itself is going to be approximately $1.4 million. That was when we began. With inflation, we're looking at anywhere close to $2 million. That's 2 million US dollars to complete this project. That's the warehouse, first year salary, the trucks that we're going to need to deliver from Kumasi to Accra. What else? What else do I want to add in there? That is going to deal with the hiring of security, loss prevention unit, a whole lot of things. So that's from top to bottom that we're looking at around let's say $2.0 million. I keep saying point for some reason, $2 million in excess. So how much of that is going to be company profits and how much of that is going to be needed by a seed round? What we estimated that we're going to make within the next 2 years, this is by an estimation. We could need slightly less, slightly more. But we're estimating that out of that $2 million, we're going to need about $750,000 of investments or investors in order to have this project completed no later than 2024 and have an opening date of 2025. Now, that's going on the estimation. It's very likely that we can have this warehouse open by 2023 of December. It's not 100%, but we're moving so fast, faster than what we thought, that we're looking at changing or editing a few points in our business plan, that it's very possible that we could have this open by December of 2023. Like I said, it's going to still take investors to get to that point. If we were to do this on our own and dwell it out just by share profits, we're looking at probably by the end of 2025. So we know that we're going to at least need the first seed round to be completed for the $750,000 additional from investors in order to possibly make this happen and have this project open by December of 2023. That is 1 to 2 years earlier than we even predicted when we came up with the idea. That's called progress. So moving on to point number 8. What is point number 8? Okay, so point number 8 is, what do you as an investor get back? Okay, let's discuss. What we're offering 5-year notes on return. In case you're not familiar with this structure, I explain it, in layman's terms. Basically, you invest. We allow that investment to mature for 5 years. For 5 years, you will get an annual return. Now, what is that percentage, or how does this work? We're offering 5 to 10%, and the 5% is anything under a certain amount, and the 10% is a specific amount and over. So 5%, anything, our mark is to get private investors to invest 50,000 K. That is the mark that we want to set. But we don't want to leave out the public. We want to include everybody that we possibly can, because we want to make this not just about us, but just about those who want to support. So a 5% is divvied out to those who invest $100 or more. You could do it through WeFunder, or you could do it directly through us, and which we use our incorporated holder in the state of Delaware here in the United States to deal with those matters. So either way, you have two options to invest. But there's a 5% return. What does that say? If you were to invest whatever, $1,000, you get back 5% of that $1,000 every year. Every year, annually, you get back that 5% of that. And at the end of the year, you get back what you put in. So for 5 years, you get an annual return of 5% on your money. And at the end of the mature date of 5 years, you receive back your money in full. So either way, you're going to receive, you're not going to lose. Now for the 10%, for the 50K and over, it's the same thing, same setup. You're going to receive 10% annually of your investment. And at the end of the 5-year mature date, you receive back the 50K or whatever it is that you put in. So someone asked me at the expo, what if someone wants to buy shares? What if somebody wants to own actual shares in this company? And let's get to it. But before we get to that, where's my pen? All right. You know what? I got my phone, so I don't need my pen. All right. So if our first round is looking for 750K divided by 10%, 7,500 times 5. So we're going to be looking at, if we were to do 10% of 750K, we would be looking at paying out over the course of a 5-year period, 3.25 million. So 10% annually of 750K at the end of 5 years, the investors or the investor would make $3.25 million. Wow, that's great. So why are you so generous? We're so generous because we understand by putting 1,200 weavers in a warehouse that we're able to do anywhere between $80 and $120 million annually. So for us to be this generous, it's valid because of the return that we're going to get through that investment. So if you did it at 5%, that everybody built up to that 5%, it would basically ring up into half that. So either way, you're going to get a return on investment is what I want to stress before I get to the next point. So again, the question is, what if a person wants to buy shares and own a company for a lifetime, or maybe into the company is sold? We have no exit strategy because we do not plan on selling ever. So Kente has been around for a long time and it will continue to be around through all of West Africa and all of the world. So why sell something that has always been and will always be? All right. So about shares, this is where the intrigue comes in at. This is what I call, what's the word that I use? An incentive to invest now. We are selling shares. We have shares available for sale now. We have in our stock portfolio, in our incorporation, and out of Delaware. Why did we choose Delaware? Because in Delaware, we don't have to pay taxes. We just pay a franchise cost. We pay a franchise tax each and every year. Which, if you go into the state of Delaware, what is it? The state site, state.org, whatever. You check our business. We're in good standing, and our taxes have always been paid. So Delaware is a great state to incorporate, because if you look at our mgkente.com, we don't charge taxes. We don't charge any taxes because we're literally selling out of the state of Delaware according to the technicalities and how it works. So we don't charge our customers taxes because we don't recoup or pay taxes back to the state of sales taxes. So we only pay a franchise tax, which is paid every January or February. So that allows us to alleviate the cost of taxes to all of our customers worldwide. So not only do we have the lowest price, but the top quality, but you're not paying taxes to raise the cost of your items. So, Stephen, answer the question about shares. Only those who invest within the time period of now and before the completion of the seed round, or we're going to have the option to take that at the end of the 5-year mature date and turn that into stocks or shares. Once we reach the end of our seed round and close it, that is that. Once we reach our mature date of our investment note, that is that. But through that, only those who had already previously invested before the end of the seed round, that we will open up an option for them to use all or any portion of their return on investment to use for the purchase of stocks. So that is the only way that an individual will be able to own actual shares in our company, in our corporation. That they will have to had already invest and be on a 5-year note plan. And at the end of the 5-year note, then they will have the option to turn any amount of those investment funds into shares of the company. Now, there might be a limitation that we put on there, but we want to make it so that, you know, it's something that we want our customers and our supporters to look forward to. Because a lot of our supporters are going to be our customers. It's not just going to be private investors or investors, just in the public eye, but we want to pay back our supporters for getting us thus far. So that is point number 9 that we're just recapping from Wednesday's meeting. That the only way to own shares in this company is to already invest or invest before the seed round ends, with the first round being a $750K. And at the end of the 5-year mature date, then you are allowed the option to take whatever amount of your investment funds, what you earn through us, and use any portion of that to purchase stocks and own a portion of the company. Now, there was one more point that I want to touch on before I go. Oh, okay. So this is the last point that I want to make. Okay. How soon from the closing of the seed round will you begin to receive your annual return? Great question. What we discussed is that 12 months, 1 year after the completion of the seed round is when the 5-year annual returns will begin. And the reason why we're doing that is because of this. We want to make sure that we're able to have everything structured and running like a fine-tuned machine. In order to do that, when we complete the factory itself, that's just the building itself that's completed. Now we have to build up inventory. Now we have to spend the next 12 months of not just still selling product, but we want to build up inventory so we can go into the following year of selling on a large scale term. Because not only are we going to be supplying, just as we're doing now worldwide, through online purchases, but we're going to be the official provider and official kente maker for all local sellers, because all the weavers will be under that one umbrella company. So no longer will it just be outside of Ghana, but now through those 12 months, we're going to produce ourselves as the official kente maker, an official kente provider for all of Ghana. So now that those 12 months, we're going to build inventory, we're going to deal with salary, and we're going to deal with all of, how should I say, the infrastructure of the entire workings of the company. So again, when our seed round will close. Once that close, no later than a day or two later, we should already, we're already going to be in construction. We're starting construction this December. So it's not like we need the seed round to end and that's when we're going to start construction. No, that's not it. We want to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row. We want to make sure that we have everything set up correctly so there be no drawbacks. So on our end, we're doing it for your benefit and for your trust in order that everything may flow without a hiccup. So yes, at the end of the seed round, or maybe if the seed round ends just months before the 6 months before completion of the factory. So that changes things. Maybe we'll start in 6 months, but we want y'all to give us a year. So we ask for 1 year time before annual returns begin, meaning that you're not going to lose a year out of that 5 years. We're going to start the 5-year maturity of the note 12 months after the end of the seed round. And we do that for the benefit, again, in order that there be no hiccups and there be no drawbacks. So this is all about building trust. This is all about building a brand name and building trust with our customers as well as our supporters. So they are the 9 points that that are from Wednesday's meeting. And I think that it's probably best that I do a recap each month. And again, this meeting is going to be done on the 5th of each month, for the foreseeable future. And I myself will be in Ghana early December to January. And no telling how far throughout, as we're going to start construction maybe a week or two in December, and I'll be down there to show you guys. We post a lot of videos, get a lot of this, give you a lot of access to what's going on, and to a new Kente shop that we're opening in Pocoasi also. So I want to be down there for the opening of that as well. So we're doing great things, and I got in this industry for a lot of reasons, but the reasons that matters to you is I got in it because it's already a stable industry. It's already a very profitable industry. And it's an industry that I love. It's not that I just love Kente, but I love seeing customers happy. When we do weddings, when we get the Kente weave, when we do these exotic dress designs, and it gets to Germany or Spain or Canada, and the customer is just so happy that they're sending pictures and videos, makes me proud. So I love what I do. And by me loving what I do, that's where the success will ultimately come in. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end the meeting right here. We actually did about an hour. So look forward to you guys joining the second monthly meeting that will be November 5th at 7 p.m. All things being the same. I wish you guys blessings. I wish you guys grace and mercy through our Lord, through our God. Those who believe and those who don't, I still wish you well. We all are human and we all need each other. No one can do this without other support. So with that said, I know this was on short notice, so we didn't have a lot of people, but I'm going to bounce this up on YouTube, do maybe a little bit of editing. Maybe that was a blessing that my video camera didn't work, but hopefully I'll get this problem solved, because on Wednesday we had video, no audio. Now we got audio, no video. So yeah, just a technical thing, but I'll get it working. But we got the major part working, audio. All right, with that said, this is Stephen D. Lyles. This is, again, the monthly meeting for Marion Ghana Incorporated. You can visit us at marionghana.com for purchases. You can visit us at mgkente.com for meeting your soulmate. You could go to, Marion Ghana Dating. So that's mgdating.com. And pretty soon we look forward to building a structure with amazon.com also. So we got a lot coming up. We got a long to-do list, but first things first, we got to get this done and flowing correctly and perfectly before we can move on to the next great investment. So with that said, this is Stephen D. Lyles. Any questions, just email me at slyles941205@gmail.com. Once again, you can always email me at slyles941205@gmail.com. Again, thank you for those who joined and those who are listening to the record. Thank you also for listening. With that said, we're going to put an end to this meeting, and have a great Saturday morning and a great Saturday afternoon along with the evening. God bless. Welcome to Marion Ghana, where Kente cloth is what we do, where African weddings and events are our specialty, where African traditional wear is perfected, where a beautiful culture resides, where marriage is honorable. mgkente.com. Where competitors can't compete in quality or prices. Shop now, mgkente.com.